Hey guys, it's Omer from MMOs.com, doing a quick weekly news recap of all major MMO news, and announced at the beginning of February 11th, 2019. This is episode number 186 of the recap, and the first of news this week comes from Respawn Entertainment and EA regarding Apex Legends, a brand new free-to-play Battle Royale game that launched out of the blue this last week and has already seen enormous success. In fact, according to developers, the game already hit 10 million players along with 1 million concurrent players, which is huge. I've already sunk 20 or so hours into this one in the last week, and I'm having a blast. Apex Legends is awesome because it runs extremely well and is a unique spin on the genre. So think Overwatch meets Battle Royale, because the game has 8 unique characters, each with their own passive, active ability, and ultimate. One little detail I like about the game a lot is that once your teammates actually die and you don't pick them up, you can actually still respawn them at respawn points in the game. So once they die, you can take their beacon from their corpse and bring it to a respawn point they can resurrect. Now this system actually makes spectating the game a lot more fun, because in PUBG or Fortnite and whatnot, if you die, you're gone for good. Here you can actually still come back into the game, and it's a lot of fun. If you're looking for a new Battle Royale game to play, I strongly recommend Apex Legends. I've been enjoying it quite a bit myself. Oh, and given its success, I bet Blackout's Battle Royale mode goes free to play within the next month or so, but that's just speculation on my part. Speaking of Battle Royale, Battlerite Royale, the Battle Royale version of Battlerite, which is all a tongue twister, is going free to play on February 19th. The game averaged a whopping 3,000 players during its launch month back in October, but those figures have since fallen to 223 last I checked on Steam. But I suspect that once it goes free to play on the 19th, those numbers should pick up again. Battle Royale was always set to be free to play, but during early access they were charging $19.99 for it. There's also a big update in the pipeline for both Battlerite and Battlerite Royale to coincide with the free to play launch. I've played a lot of Battlerite myself, so I will check this one out myself when it goes free to play. If I can get myself off Apex Legends, that is. Next up, Soul of the Ultimate Nation is looking to relaunch in the first half of 2019. Yes, you heard that correctly. The fantasy MMORPG that launched in English back in 2009 and shut down in 2013 is looking to make a comeback with a new version called Soul of the Ultimate Nation Limited Edition, which aims to have a greater emphasis on PvE. There's apparently a Steam version also in the works as well. It'll be available through Webzen in the West, and those interested in checking it out can do so now actually, as the game is available through a hidden part of Webzen's website, which is actually webzengames.webzen.com. So if you want to check it out, go to that URL and you should be able to download it. Up next part of the Closer storyline titled Season 3 of Rogue Agents is set to launch on February 12th, which is tomorrow. So expect new stages and other goodies. Inmass also released a roadmap for the future updates for the game, as well as a new character called Bai, which is launching in April, and Season 3 Chapter 2 coming in June, and more. While I like the visuals of Closers, the game itself isn't too popular, averaging just 350 or so players online on Steam, but does have some players off Steam as well through the Inmass launcher. I do like when companies give you a nice development roadmap though, so you know what to look forward to as the year progresses. Next up, Conquerors Blade began closed beta testing this last week, and that closed beta test runs until February 15th. If you need a key, we still have a few left on MMOs.com/giveaways. Conquerors Blade is a unique MMO that mixes medieval action combat with strategic elements of army building, forming alliances, and base building, and more. This one actually looks quite a bit different than other MMOs. It'll be free to play at launch and is developed by a Chinese company, but published by My.com. Learn more about it at cb.my.com. This is definitely an oddball one, so keep an eye on it. Next up, South Korean developer Jandisoft released a new gameplay trailer showing off their upcoming cross-platform HTML5 powered MMO Mad World. No word on exactly when this one is coming out exactly, but the studio did say they're aiming for a release sometime in the summer, but nothing is set in stone just yet. This one definitely looks like an oddball. It'll be cross-platform, compatible between PC, Mac, and mobile devices, and perhaps even consoles in the near future. Given that it's made for PC as well, I'm hoping for a more traditional MMO experience rather than just an auto-playing mobile game. So because it'll be available on mobile, but designed for PC, I'm hoping it'll be decent on mobile. Up next, the MMO sandbox RPG Wild Terra is going free to play tomorrow on February 12th. This one's been out for over a year now as a buy-to-play title, and they haven't seen too much success. Steam chart shows that they're averaging just 57 or so players online at a given time, but I suspect that going free to play should help them out a bit. Interestingly, the game's developers have said that they aren't going free to play out of necessity, but it sure looks like it to me. This one's a sandbox RPG with hardcore PvP elements with base building and player-controlled towns, and an in-depth crafting system. Visually, it looks a lot like Ultima Online, RuneScape, and Legend of Mirror all mixed together, which is odd for a game released in 2017. But still, if you look for an old-school hardcore MMO, maybe give Wild Terra a look. Next up, a bit of industry news. Square Enix released their Q4 2018 earnings report this last week, and it wasn't too pretty as profits and revenues declined across the company. The only part of Square Enix's business that showed even a little bit of growth was the MMO division, which reported $59 million in revenue for the last 3 months, which is great because we're at the end of Stormblood and everyone is waiting for the next expansion, Shadowbringers, which is launching in July. So I'm surprised revenues didn't fall further. Sadly though, despite bringing in $59 million in revenues, the MMO division's profits only came in at a measly $2.7 million, which is less than $1 million per month, which still seems good to us normal folks, but for a multi-billion-dollar company like Square Enix, it's chump change. Square Enix's mobile game revenues came in at $170 million, which is almost 3 times the MMO division. I'm curious what kind of financial impact Shadowbringers will have on Square Enix, because when Stormblood launched, I remember they reported record subscribers and all-time high numbers, and I suspect that when Shadowbringers launches, we'll see record numbers once again. Up next, a lot of new gameplay footage came out for Amazon's upcoming sandbox MMO New World, and from the looks of it, it looks like a much more polished survival MMO than Atlas. New World will play like Rust or Atlas, except with EVE Online-like MMO scale to it. Guilds will play an important role in the game, as territory control and siege warfare just isn't practical to partake in alone. The game is currently in alpha, with a wider beta test coming later in the year. The game sounds great in concept, but I feel like games like this just don't have wide appeal because of their complexity. But who knows? I mean, the UI in this game already looks a lot better than Atlas and other survival MMOs that are going for this large-scale ambition. I mean, if you think about it, look at the other games. You had Life is Feudal MMO, you had Atlas, and you've had Worm Online. These were all trying to do the same concept, but they had really bad UIs, and it was really difficult to get into these games. So hopefully New World can take this complex concept and make it more streamlined, and if it does, I think it'll be successful. And the next and last bit of news this week comes from a small update for Astellia. The game's publisher, Brunson, did an interview with MMOculture.com, and interesting bits of the interview are that Brunson actually owns the game's developer Studio 8, so they can make changes to the game specifically for the Western market, which is why they've been able to remove the gender lock on the Western version. They've also talked a bit about the game's Estelle system, which the devs have stated is their key differentiator from other MMORPGs. One new piece of info that dropped in the interview was that the game won't have any kind of IP blocks outside of Korea, which is great. And they've also announced that the game will be buy to play with microtransactions, but the devs are promising no pay-to-win elements. But as we all know, words are cheap, and hopefully they do stick with it. Anyway, guys, that's it for MMO News this week. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the podcast. Later, guys.